Hi, welcome to my video on finding the number of solutions excuse me, in a linear equation. A linear equation could have, let's find out what a linear equation have. We'll find out it could have one solution, it could have no solutions, it could have many solutions. So let's explain. The number of solutions in an equation, okay? We have the left side, we'll always put the variables. We have the right side, we'll always put the numbers. I will always obey this. Variables on the left, numbers on the right, always. Note, equations are linear with a single variable. We're dealing with a linear equation, degree 1, with a single variable, all x's or all y's or all a's. When the left side and the right side are completely simplified, there are three possibilities when you solve a linear equation in one variable. Possibility number 1, we have a left side and a right side, and the first possibility is that we have an x equals a number, like when we finish we got x equals 7, or x equals -2, or x equals a half. When we have this situation, when we put the x's on the left and the numbers on the right, when you solve, if you get this situation, you will have one solution because you only got one answer. That makes sense. Let's explain. So if I solve this equation, I move the 1, oops, there's an equal sign there. I move the 1 to the right side to make a plus. I get an 8. I divide by 4, and I get x equals 2. If I solve this one, the x's go to the left, the numbers go to the right and change signs. 2x equals -10. Divide by -2, and I get x equals 5. So notice I have x equals a number. I have x equals a number because I have the variables on the left, because I solve with the numbers on the right. When I have this situation, I know I will have one solution, and there's only one answer. It's a 2 for this equation. It's a 5 for here. That's the easiest possibility. The other two, here we go. Let's explain those. The second possibility is that, well, what about if we have the left side is 0 and the right side is 0? So when you're solving the equation, notice all the x's cancel out on the, become 0 on the right, and the numbers become 0. So if you get this scenario, when you solve 0 equals 0, that means you have many solutions. Well, let's explain. So let's take this equation right here, which is 6x minus 10, and that's a 6x plus 12 minus 22. So notice now you're solving this equation. You're getting rid of the bracket, and you're simplifying each side. So you'd say, okay, I can handle that. That's a -10. So 6x minus 6x, -10 plus 10. You keep going, so that's a 0, and that's a 0. So when you get this situation, that 0 equals 0, notice I moved. Notice that this side, just look, 6x minus 10 is the same as 6x minus 10. The two sides are the same. But if you keep going, it makes no difference if you have this or this. You'll get a 0 equals 0 because they'll cancel each other out up here. So if you get 0 equals 0 when you solve it, you have many solutions. Well, what does that mean? Well, let's take another equation. Let's take a simple. Let's take this one and let's put a 0 in. Let's pretend that we got 0 as an answer. Because we have 0 equals 0, we got many solutions. That means I can put a 0 in here and it'll make it true. I can put a 5 in the place of x and it'll make it true. I can put any number in here in the place of x and it'll work out to be 0 equals 0. So because the two of them will work and become true, that means that I have many solutions. And this only happens when the two sides are identical, or you work them out fully and you get 0 equals 0. So I'm going to put a 0 in here and work it out. Here we go. Just to show you that 0 is an answer. So I'm subbing in Notice I'm subbing in 0 in the place of x, and then I'm going to work it out. So 0 times 6 times 0 is 0 minus 10. And that's a 3. So I'm going to work the inside of this out. 2 times 0 is 0 plus, that's a 4. So I get a 4. So let's continue. I got a negative 10 there. I got a 12 minus 22. I got a negative 10 equals negative 10. Notice the two sides are the same. So that means I got many solutions. But if you move the negative 10 to the right side, you'll get 0 equals 0, which is what I was saying. But because the two of them are the same, that means that 0 is a solution because left and right side is the same. If you put a 5, let's just put a 5 in here and try it with a 5. Let's see what happens when we put a 5 in, just to drive it home. So notice, there's the big bracket. I'm putting 5 in the place of x now. Just then I put 0 in and worked out to be 0 equals 0. Now I'm putting a 5 in. So 5 times 6 is 30. Okay. I could call that a 20. I get that side done. Over here, I do the inside first. So I multiply PEMDAS. I multiply to get 10 and add to get 14. That's easy. Multiply that. I got to multiply before I subtract. So I get a 42 minus 22. 20 there and 20 there. Notice I got 20 equals 20. If you move the numbers to the left side, you'll end up with 0 equals 0. Or if the two equations end up to be the same number, same terms, like this, or like this, then you know you're going to get 0 equals 0. So you know you're going to have many solutions. So this equation right here, or any one that happens with 0 equals 0 or both sides equal, you'll have many solutions. You can't write down 1 or 2 or negative 3 or 4. There are infinite number of solutions. So no matter what number I put in the place of x in this equation, excuse me, it'll always work out. Always work out. Okay. The third possibility is, the first possibility is we have one answer. Second possibility, we have many answers. So the third possibility is, you got the left side, the right side. When you have the left side, x is giving you a 0, because when you add them up, you get 0. And when the right side becomes a number, that's impossible. How can you have 0 equals a number? If that happens, when you put the x's on the left and the numbers on the right, and you get 0, excuse me, 0 equals 0, then there's no solutions. There's none. No solutions will make the equation true. And let's look at this equation here and solve it and see what happens. 5x, we're going to multiply 2 by each of those. 8x, we're subtracting this, or we're going to add on the opposite, or we're going to put a 1 here if we want. That makes it negative x minus 6. Or I can add on the opposite, which is a negative x minus 6. Simplify each side. (7x minus 7x, negative 6 plus 2). That gives me a 0. It gives me a 0x, but a 0x is the same as 0. So I got 0 equals negative 4. That means this equation, what? There's no number that will make this equation true. None. So the solution is, there's no solution. And some math teachers write down x is equal to what they call the empty set. Or what's the solution? No solution. What's the answer? There's no answer. There's no solution to this equation. No number will make it true. And you notice I made the equation. Notice I made the equation long. Because when you look at this equation, you can't see that the left side is going to become 0. So that's why this equation is made long to work out. So when you get to here, you get that 0 and you say, oh, you don't see that. But if I wrote down 6x plus 1 equals 6x plus 4, you'd look and say, oh, that's 6x minus 6x equals 4 minus 1. And you see right away that the 6's will cancel out. So you see the answer is going to be no solution, no answer. But when you make the equation and disguise what's happening, then by working it through, you come down to 0 equals negative 4, and you say, oh, there's no solutions. Okay, that's the three possibilities. One answer, many answers, or no answers. So let's work each of these out now to see what happens. How many solutions does each have? One, none, or many? So let's solve and see. We have 6x here. That's a negative 1 if you want to put it. So that's a plus x minus 4. And that's a 3x plus 4. That's a 5x minus 4 equals 3x plus 4. 5x minus 3x equals 4 plus 4. Negative 2x equals 8. Divide by negative 2. Notice that's a negative, so I added on the opposite, or I put a negative 1 there and worked this out. I simplified each side. I moved the plus over to here, made a minus. I moved the number to the right and made it a plus. I added up and I divided by negative 2. So there's one solution here. As you can see, I got x equals negative 4. One solution. B, let's work these out. Negative 4x plus 4 plus 2x plus 3, or plus 6, sorry. So I multiplied negative 4 by these two, multiplied 2 by these two. Now I'm going to simplify the left side. You always simplify before you transpose. It makes it easier. Negative 2x plus 2x equals 10. That adds up to be 0 equals 10. 0 equals 10 is there's no solution. So x equals no, there's no solution to this equation. No matter what number you put in this equation in the place of x, it will not be true. So there's no values of x to make this true. And that happens when I get 0 equals negative 10. Notice I solve it for x, and I solve it, I put the x's on the left, I put the numbers on the right, and that means if I do that consistently, I'll get x equals a number, or I get 0 equals a number, or, and the next situation, we got a 1 and a none. Guess what the next one is going to be? You'd say, oh, I think we should be many. Let's see. How many solutions does this have? Well, let's work it out. We got a negative 6x plus 1 equals 4x plus 2, negative 10x minus 10 plus 9. So I multiplied the 2 and the 10. I simplified, I got rid of the brackets. I'm going to simplify each side first. So that's a negative 10 and 4 is a negative 6. That's negative 1 and 2 is a 1. So this is negative 6x plus 6x equals 1 minus 1. That moves over to the left to become plus, and that moves over to the right to become a minus. They add up to give me 0, and they add up to give me 0. 0 equals 0 means what? There's many solutions. That's the number of solutions in this equation, many. And some people, when they have many solutions, say, well, the answer is the equation. There's many solutions here. Many solutions. 0 equals 0. So, pause your video and work out these to see how many solutions. See if you're going to get them right. One, none, or many. Remember, one is, you get one answer. X is 7. When you have many solutions, you'll have 0 equals 0. When you have no solutions, you'll have 0 equals some number other than 0. Let's work them out. Pause, work them out, and come back. Negative 8x plus 8. Notice I have to, PEMDAS, I have to multiply this first. Negative 9x minus 9. I can't touch the x. I have to multiply the number that's on the outside the brackets because I have to obey. I cannot simplify the inside of this or this. There's no power to do. Remember, PEMDAS. You cannot simplify the inside. You have no power to do. So you have to multiply this one and this one first before you touch the x. Simplify each side. Negative 8x minus 9. Add up the x's here, you get negative 8. Then the x's move to the left and the numbers move to the right. So that's a 0, negative 17. 0 equals negative 17, impossible. So there's what? No solutions here. There's no solutions to this problem. 0 equals negative 17. Number 2, just remove the brackets. That's a 1 there, so I can add on the opposite or put a 1, your choice. 6x plus 9. The opposite of plus 4 is a minus 4. The opposite of a minus 1 is a plus 1. Or you can put a 1 here. If you put a 1 here, then you got a negative 1 times 4x. Perfect. Negative 1 times negative 1. Perfect. So to put a 1 in front of this bracket means you just got to multiply. And it makes it same as adding on the opposite. And we go 2 times x, 2 times 5. And we add up the like terms. 2x plus 10 equals 2x plus 10. So 2x minus 2x equals 10 minus 10. 0 is 0. And we got 0 equals 0. That means that's what? We have many solutions. There are many solutions to this because 0 equals 0. And we work this one out. We have to do PEMDAS now. Keep thinking about this all the time. Well, I got brackets here, but I can work those out. So I can't work those out or those out, so I'll leave them alone. So I can simplify the inside of this bracket. So you got to be on the alert. I can't subtract those or those, these two or these two, because they're not like terms. But I can subtract those to get negative 2. I have no exponents. Now I have to multiply, multiply, and multiply. Multiply, divide. Next. So x times negative 2, negative 2x. Negative 2 times x, negative 2x. Negative 2 times negative 4, 8. 2 times x, 2x. 2 times negative 2, negative 4. Simplify each side first. Remember, by simplifying, what happens? You make less to transpose, but it's your choice. X's to the left, change the signs. Numbers to the right, change the signs. Plus becomes a minus, plus becomes a minus. Add up, 6x equals negative 12, negative 4, negative 8. Divide by negative 6. That cancels out to give me a 1. So x is 2. So that means there's one solution. So yes, it got to be 1 because x is 2. 2 that's just one number. And that takes us through the different, how many solutions an equation has. Sometimes you'll see this, the teachers will, or in textbooks, will work this through for you. And you say, oh, hopefully now I understand. Work the equations out. Again, review. If you get x equals 4, there's one solution. If you get if you get 0 equals 0, you've got many solutions. That means any number put in the equation will be true. If you got 0 equals 7, 0 equals 10, if you put x's on the left, numbers on the right, and you get 0 equals 4, then you know you have no solution, no answer, no value of x will make the equation true. And if you like my video, click the like button. If you're a subscriber or not a subscriber, click the subscribe button. And if you're click the notification bell, there's more videos coming. I got grade 11 and 12 videos to do over a period of time. But I'm the only one teaching. I'm the only one doing it. So I have to make this up. And I just devised a way to do it, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. And write a comment on my video if you wish. And visit my math website at mathfullyexplained.com. And there you'll have 3 sections: me, my degrees and teaching experience, videos that talk about the teaching strategy you're going to use. And my content has the topics and the number of videos that's going to be on my YouTube channel. Black font is what's done online right now. And the red font is is the topics that we've done in the near future. Hope you enjoyed my video. Bye-bye.